and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, 7 Reasons You'll Want to Upgrade Your Standalone RTView to Enterprise Monitor. My name is Gia Mangino, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. Our presenters today are David Hickman and Glenn Edevan. Today's presentation will be approximately 25 minutes with time left at the end to address questions from the audience. If you'd like to participate in this Q&A session, simply enter your question into the panel at any time during the event and click Submit. And with that, I'll pass it over to you, David and Glenn. Thank you.
Great. Gia, I'm really excited to be here today. Both Glenn and I are. We're going to be telling you about how extending your current RTView deployment include an RTView Enterprise Monitor framework is only going to help you better manage your middleware environment, but it's also going to help you better manage the applications that rely on those. So let's start with some brief introductions. Mine is David Hickman. Some of you may remember me from my 10 years at TIBCO, so I'm pretty familiar with both application performance monitoring technology as well as the TIBCO stack. And today I'm also joined by my coworker and co-presenter, Glenn Edevan. Yeah, hi Glenn.
Hi there. Hi David.
Glenn's been with SL for a number of years, and even longer in the application performance middleware space. So I think most of you know who SL is, because most of you are already TIBCO users. But in case you don't know, we're SL, and what we are the leader in end-to-end monitoring for middleware-centric applications. And we can do that because we've been in business for over 30 years, and we're partnering with TIBCO for the 13 years. And we have the widest support for middleware platforms today, not just TIBCO, but also Oracle and IBM, VMware, Solace. It's a pretty broad range. So if you're already using TIBCO RTView, we're guys who actually make that to TIBCO. But of course, not just software providers. We are a strategic sales and solutions partner for TIBCO. And as a result, we have over 120 joint customers between the two of us using this technology. So it's coming from a good place. Now today, we're going to try and break this up into 3 parts. First, I want to give you an idea of what exactly is RTView Enterprise Monitor, and what is it alike and different from what you already have today. We'll talk about specific examples, and Glenn is going to show some of those and talk about it and actually show you how it really impacts your life. And then we'll talk about, if you wanted to get started, what's involved, because it's easy. If you like RTView monitor, standalone monitors for BusinessWorks or EMS, then you're going to love the RTView Enterprise Monitor. Takes it to the next level. Now the great thing is they're both based on the same core technology, mainly called RTView Core. You'll see a lot of similarities, but there are major differences too. But first part, by taking a look at the relationship, the products that you have today and the products that we're bringing to market. Most of you, again, are already familiar with the Enterprise Message Service Monitor or EMS Monitor, the BusinessWorks Monitor. Just in the last few months, TIBCO has started reselling our Business Events Monitor, which we're very excited about. And all of this is available to you from TIBCO under the TIBCO RTView brand. Well, SL made a lot of changes in the last couple of years. So we 3 years ago that the future of application monitoring would be to unify these individual monitoring silos into what we call an end-to-end or a unified view of your applications, your middleware, and your infrastructure. And by end-to-end, we mean all the way from the host tier up messaging to your middleware, your other infrastructure platforms, all the way out to the end user monitoring. It gives you a good sense of it. And it's our philosophy that the health of the application is a reflection of the health of the individual components that make up that application, which is why you really want to have an end-to-end view of all of these pieces so that nothing really slips by. Now, technologies that really cover the whole gamut, whether it's databases, complex event processing like TIBCO business events, in-memory data grids, be it actives or coherence, number of application servers. We have business process automation, like BizWorks, one of the things we've been working with the longest. SA, plugin for active matrix. We can even monitor the performance of TIBCO adapters, the messaging layer, and through physical host or virtual host, or even up in the cloud. Just break it down a little bit further to give you an example of some of the solution packages that we offer today. Because RTView Enterprise Monitor is a modular framework, it'll pick and choose the technologies that you want to monitor. And you can customize it towards the technologies that you use and don't worry about the technology that you don't use. Now, each one of these solution packs that we offer today are SDK. Solution packages can be created in just a matter of weeks using that same SDK. That's something that you can build. It's something that we can build. In fact, we have a whole more of these that were custom built for individual customers, and we support them with our technical services group. And that's also something that we can bring to the table and work with you. So whether your middle component or other infrastructure component is here or not, we can really satisfy the needs that you have. So, the technical stuff, really want to kind of boil it down to one thing. What makes the RTView Enterprise Monitor experience than what you have today? And I come up in one word, and that word is context. Because as great as it is to be able to see the performance of a single BusinessWorks engine or EMSQ, to be able to see that information in context with the applications, the middleware, the other infrastructure that interact with the middleware component, it's going to give you a much better view into what's going on, what is causing problems, how can I avoid them, how can I, find out exactly what is causing my problem. Is it me? Is it something else? So instead of just keep talking about it, I want to show you some examples of this added context can really make your middleware monitoring experience more powerful, more productive, and make your life easier on a day-to-day basis. And go help me with this. So let's start off with our first tip, which is role-based view of your middleware health. Okay? With RTView Enterprise Monitor, you can eliminate the noise of looking at every single instance of middleware technology, and by presenting unique role-based views, users only see what's important to them and are able to filter out the things that they don't care so much about. So I'm going to let Glenn illustrate that for you. Glenn?
So context, as David has pointed out a couple of times now, is critical. Context allows you to work efficiently, to understand the dependencies without the guesswork. Standalones lack the service model's ability to group the resources by service or application or function, meaning that you continually have to deal with the entire infrastructure all at once. Uses context to provide role-based views. And really effective, you need to take a role-based approach. You need to divide and conquer the infrastructure. You can focus the issue without having to deal with all that distracting noise of other applications, other environments. And you can quickly identify the failing component and understand the business impact. Here we're seeing is a view of a particular business service. It's called orders service. Customer-facing part of the business service. What we're able to do is isolate out all of the individual technology types that support this service. Nothing's left out. Everything's included. EM is able to show you the health state of each of those technology areas. And along the bottom there, you'll see that we're posting some of the alert text that comes with that alert on the host. Here. By providing a role-based approach, you can use that you can then pass on to your application developers, your application owners, other support groups, perhaps the people upstream and downstream of you. So now what they're able to do with these self-service profile-driven views is answer their own questions. How many to ask a developer to change one action problem? And we'll get back to him, and it is an answer to something that he could have easily found himself within just a few seconds. There are two benefits immediately apparent right here. Let's see now to deal with more strategic efforts, how to improve the service that you're giving in general rather than just trying to resolve issues.
In fact, it reminds me, Glenn, any of you out there went to the TIBCO Now event last year. One of our customers from Intuit actually did an entire session on service monitoring for your different teams within the organization. And if you're interested in that aspect, we have that recorded webinar on our website, and I urge you to take a look at that. Our second reason to an end-to-end view of things is in the area of alert prioritization. And RTView Enterprise Monitor really goes centralize and prioritize these alerts for you based on the impact to the business, which is really important. And Glenn's going to show you how we can do that.
Particular case, what we're showing you is the high-level dashboard. What we've done is separated out a subset of the entire set of applications. And these are grouped together as TIBCO-centric applications. The box here represents an individual application. The box is by the amount of resources that are supporting that application, as you'll see by the mouse over on the bottom. Yeah, and we'll check on the health state of the components that support that application. So here the metric is impact, but you change this heat map based on alert criticality, the number of alerts. There's a number of different ways that you can change the presentation layer here to suit your particular needs. So it maps resources to applications. That's the critical piece. This enables IT to closely align itself with the business. As you know, business priorities change. New applications come in, old applications go away. So to get dynamic approach, we use these heat maps. Every time you see a heat map, be aware there's also a tabular format for those people who are more comfortable with that. What prioritization is it isolating out the customer-facing, the mission-critical applications so that when there are multiple problems, affect multiple systems all at the same time, you can immediately attack those issues that are need applications, that are the critical ones. And let's leave to a later date those internal applications. So the benefit here is that you don't have to explain to your boss what is that you gave attention to a time card management queue that was filling up and a processing queue until afterwards.
And so on to reason number 3 to extend your existing capabilities, and that is in the area of proactive health warnings. The RTView Enterprise Monitor uses, a brand new feature that we've just released in our 2.0 release, shows you not alerts are given middleware piece, but actually shows you how close your middleware performance is to reach that alert threshold before it actually triggers. And knowing it beforehand allows you to anticipate and act before alarms start going off. Glad a little bit more about that.
Sure, and this is one of the screens that you would use to do that. What we always say in monitoring is that it's true everywhere else. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So not able to get in there and resolve an issue, or even aware of an issue, then that's not as good as it can get. Now, as David pointed out, most monitoring systems can tell you when a preset threshold has been breached. It's far beyond that in terms of quality. It constantly monitors the stress based on systems and subsystems, changes over time, perhaps during the course of a day or a business cycle. What we're able to do is present the information in a current way. So take a look at this and see, oh, okay, I notice my JVM occasionally red lines. So I take corrective action because I know there's a knock-on effect to this. So maybe what I can do is increase the memory. This may no longer be starved of resources. And this may be able to provide better service to the EMS and the BDQs that are dependent upon that. By detect behavior before it has a critical impact on a dependent layer, we've just taken a proactive approach to improving the overall service reliability. And to give yourself some headroom, constantly monitoring how these systems are stressed long before an alert is generated because a peak threshold has been breached, you'll be able to what we call move to the green or manage to the green. As part of the iterative improvement policy most companies have adopted. By having some additional headroom there, when there's additional events, your system will be able to accommodate the additional demand.
So let's move on to the number 4, this I really like, which is the ability to see beyond just that one middleware platform you're responsible for, and the peripherals, the other components around it, in the context of your middleware and in the context of the applications they support. So RTView Enterprise Monitor can show you the status of the other peripheral components interacting with your servers, be it messaging queues, your database I/O, physical or virtual hosts, appers, data, what have you. And it might even show you, there's not just a problem in your component, but there's something upstream or downstream that is actually impacting the performance of stuff that you're responsible for.
Be able to understand that you need to be able to, at a glance, a state of all of those components that together support that application. So understand that your processes don't run in isolation. It's part of a flow. RTView provides screens and alerts built around a correlated view. This is such a view as we're looking at right now. We immediately understand how an application depends on the health and the stability of many different components. Components are controlled by other support groups. So we are responsible for those, for example, for the host and for the our systems. They may be responsible for those, but you still have an interest in those. You still need to understand their health state because their health state affects yours. So a related view of all of these related systems is a bit like driving blindfolded. You don't know increasing queue depth that you're watching as the cause of a problem or the effect of another problem, maybe even normal behavior. Ask you to find out if there was trouble brewing. For that reason, context is critical.
Great. I especially like that analogy you use, Glenn, about driving, with blinders on without any peripheral vision. It's going to be much harder to do that. Great analogy. So let's take a view of this in our fifth reason, which is not only to be able to view the performance of the peripheral components, but to be able to view them over a period of time. An RTView Enterprise Monitor is going to be able to show you that group performance over time, so you can see the overall health conditions that may have led up to an alert or led to a failure, and give more clues in terms of, how it started, what caused this thing, and when did it maybe go away. Would you walk us through this example?
Sure. This actually is a great example. So context is important to understanding what the current state is. We also need to be able to do is bring in that additional dimension of time. Because many issues develop gradually. And often the original cause can disappear before you're even aware that there was a problem. Tell your users, we're not really sure what happened. We just have to wait till it happens again. Hopefully then we'll collect more information and we'll be able to make a fix. That's for you and for them. However, RTView EM's ability to bring the time dimension into these screens allows you to look at the health state of all related components over time. For example, the clock in the morning, everything seems to be going okay. Starts to rise. The CPU on both the W engine and the messenger starts to increase, and the AUQ outrate message keeps up. So everything is running fine, except the CPU is getting slightly stressed. At 12 o'clock, along comes another CPU application. It's not part of your environment. This is unexpected. And it's to consume a lot of the CPU resources. As a result, the BW engines are starved. Now all of a sudden, the order queue outrate drops. If not consume messages from EMS as fast as EMS is putting messages onto the queue. So the pen message count starts to increase. This might be, and ordinarily would be, the first time that you have indication that there's a problem. Your normal analysis is now 2 p.m. Find out what caused that impact to user performance. They've called in and said the application is running slow. By the time you start investigating, the cause of that problem, that CPU hog process, has gone away. There's no evidence that it was ever there. W engines start working again at normal capacity. The message rate starts to drop because it's now able to consume those messages. So indication you had of what caused that slowdown to the user has gone away. Another example of, we don't know what the cause is. We're going to have to look for a pattern. But using RTView EM and go back over the history would enable you to exactly point out this is the cause of the problem. So now let's drill into the CPU level. So this is another great indication of how adding that time to a correlated view is improving the service you provide to the business.
Absolutely, Glenn. This is a great example of how added context gives you more information to be able to do your job better, faster, with more productivity. So moving on to our sixth reason that extends your current framework is the ability to not only have more data yourself, also be able to share this data within different groups of your environment. And in this particular case, you can enable your frontline support teams, the guys who create the tickets and actually escalate issues to you, to be more self-sufficient, to be accurate, RTView Enterprise Monitor is going to give them these views, some of the views that you just saw, instead of trying to do a shotgun approach to, everybody, all hands on deck. They can more quickly identify the right people to escalate problems to with better accuracy and with less time, ultimately, saving a lot of time in terms of recovery when there is a problem. Walk us through that, Glenn.
Sure. So we know that frontline support groups have to be generous. They have to cover a huge range of different systems running within the enterprise. So the challenge is that when a problem does occur, they're under tremendous pressure to act quickly. They don't really have any depth or any ability to understand the actual support stack. They're often working blind. So what we're able to do with RTView is through our self-service approach, we're able to improve their effectiveness and accuracy. Here, group of services are constantly monitoring that they have detected a change in the health state of the order service. By observing that the color has changed from green to yellow. So for that part of the dashboard is able to then drill into that and understand all components that support that application. Centric approach. So they're able to prioritize as we discussed earlier. Here, able to understand that there's more than one problem affecting order service. But we've automatically prioritized that for them. We show that EMSQ is having a problem, but it's yellow, whereas the host is clear red. So it's probably likely that the problem with the host is affecting that EMSQ. So the area of focus for them should be on that host. And in the bottom there, you'll see that we've posted up 3 alerts. The bottom one is talking about a limit being exceeded on the host, and the other 2 are talking about queues being exceeded on EMS, or rather the message out rates being exceeded on EMS. If we go next screen, we're about host system. Remember, the idea is frontline is supposed to gather the information it can, pass that on to level 2 if it's not able to make the fix itself. So what they've been able to do is to help them go from contacting Unix support, DAs, networking support, messaging support, workflow support. Now they know that the only groups they really need to be working with are the Unix support and the messaging support. Here we see that red alert. We're able to pass on information about the environment, the criticality of the alert, a lot of asset information about where that host is running, the CI name, for example. And next screen, you're also able to gather historical information. So they're able to collect together all of the alerts that came about as a result of that particular host and the services running on that host, for example, EMS. So they're able to just collect this information very quickly with just a few keystrokes and then pass it on to the appropriate people. They're gathering 10 or 12 people in a room and just trying to find out who owns it.
Fantastic. It is, again, great way to increase collaboration and work together to solve problems. The technology is actually bringing us together and not keeping us in our own little silos. The last one is again, I think it's almost even more contextual than anything else. It's the idea of providing greater visibility throughout the enterprise, even beyond your support channel, all up to the management. More and more these days, business owners are having a vested interest in the performance of these big mission-critical applications. And they want to have the visibility, even if it's just a high-level responsibility, and then making sure that everything is running fine. They have nothing to worry about. So RTView Enterprise monitors unified view of the application performance, helps to provide clarity to the management teams and give them confidence in the stability of the applications that they depend on. Glenn, why don't you go through that?
So we know the importance of keeping management happy. The happier they are, the less phone calls they make, and that we've avoided. Confidence comes to them from having the right amount of detail on demand. It comes from having too much. Remember that this is one group of applications that they're responsible for, but they have many other responsibilities as well. What this screen is showing is a view of that shipping cost estimator. So we've broken down that larger business service to the 5 sub-services. What we've also done is looked at the health state of each of the hundreds of components that together support those sub-services and reflecting the health state of all of that. Now, management agrees because the information is presented on demand at the right level and in the right format and with the right detail. The culprit to his need. He doesn't need to call you anymore to ask status checks. He can see that everything's going just great. This benefit not just for the people managing the infrastructure, but the people who manage the management of the infrastructure.
This example of what you were talking about earlier, Glenn, with the managing to the green.
Yes, exactly.
Somebody looking really gives you that impetus to make sure everything running at the optimal performance. Kind of why I spend the extra money on having a personal trainer. Somebody holding you accountable.
David, they saw our photographs at the front.
Fool them. Fantastic. You know, after going through these reasons, we hope that you're interested in getting greater contextual views of the applications and the middleware platforms that you support. The fantastic thing is you've already got your core infrastructure running there. So what we're able to do is simply extend what you already have in place to give it some new, contextual algorithms and correlation and visualization come on the front end and some more aggregation points on the back end. But it's pretty simple. You just have to install the RTView Enterprise Monitor framework on top of what you already have, easily configure that to talk to your existing monitors, and then you can pick and choose which solution packages you add to this framework to get that end-to-end view of your applications or your middleware layer or your infrastructure or what have you. Is there anything you want to add to that, Glenn, in terms of how quickly or how easy that is to kind of move from their current deployment to something with a greater range?
No, David, actually, I think you covered it really well. The one thing I did want to stress is that we don't actually take anything away. We plug in RTView EM as a framework that builds your existing RTView solutions. Excuse me. Within that framework, form a kind of correlated view of any other solutions that you want to add later on. The important thing is to understand that you will be getting alerts and reports the same day.
Awesome. Okay, so let me just go ahead and sum it up. Really, it's all about middleware monitoring context, in the context of your applications, in the context of your otherware middleware systems, in the context of the other infrastructure you have in your company. By having this additional end-to-end unified view of your application performance and the performance of those underlying components, it enables you to do faster, deeper troubleshooting. As you've seen, it really enables you to do proactive warning, get in there and before something blows up. It gives you a great tool for doing historical root cause analysis, because as Glenn said, things don't always blow up while you're looking. It may happen in the middle of the night, but you need a way to go back and see what happened, fix it, and make sure that doesn't happen again. With that, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. We're going to have some questions. In the meantime, if you are interested in getting more information on this, there's a lot of different ways that we can work together. You can request a personalized WebEx demo, and we can walk through all this with you. You can start a free trial. We can actually give you the software, and you can try it out in your own environment. You find us on TIB Community. We're very active on TIB Community, particularly under the RTView space. Always find us at sl.com or use the information below to give us a contact. So, Gia, why don't you walk us through how we're going to take questions today?
David, thank you, Glenn. So if you would like to submit any questions, please submit them via the chat panel or the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of your screen. Just type it in, click submit, and I'll be starting to ask those questions. Just a reminder that this webcast has been recorded, and I will be sending that out within the next few days. So, yeah, looks like we have one question so far. I already have RTView, EMS, and BW. How will this be effective? Can I add TIBCO active?
So let me grab that one. Yes, that's part of our process. Your existing installations are preserved. We simply extend what you already have. We don't replace anything. So long, run simple process probably takes no more than an hour. You'd already be getting many of the benefits that we talked about today.
Thank you, Glenn. And thank you for these great questions. One more. We expect our environment to grow in terms of size and also vendors. Can you address this, please?
So there's two areas there of concern to a lot of enterprises. One is the scalability. Nobody wants to start off with a solution that, as they grow, that solution is unable to keep pace. So the architecture for RTView is designed specifically to grow. So we have many instances where we're working with tens of thousands of different components. Other environments where we're working with just a few hundred. So it's architected to scale appropriately. The second thing is that we can grow not just in terms of physical or structural scale, but also in terms of the technologies that we work with. So they start off being, for example, focused around TIBCO and IBM. But then it's a strategic change. Now you're going to start working with Oracle, WebSphere to WebLogic. Not a problem for us. We saw the other plugins as monitoring these new technologies. Have a technology, maybe you start moving towards the cloud. We have a template-based approach so that we can start building ourselves to work with these new technologies. So eager to do.
Can you see multiple data centers in one view?
Yeah, you can. So if you recall, when we first started the examples, we showed you a dashboard, a heat map dashboard. One of those drop-down tabs would be environment. So let's say that you were part of you had a global implementation. You had a data center perhaps in Asia, one in Europe, one in North America. Your ability to select all of those different data centers and display the results in the same screen. So this is flexible. It's all done through our service model, something we do every day.
Okay, thank you again. It looks like we've run a tiny bit over, so I think that we will end at this time. Thank you for all those great questions and for your responses. Again, thank you for joining us. I'll be sending out the recording in the next few days, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, everyone.